All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA. This is my stimulus update for Friday, May 8th. The IRS has released updated state-by-state stimulus payment data, indicating that approximately 130 million individuals so far have been stimulated to the tune of over $200 billion. Now, whether they were properly stimulated is a different story. We don't know how many of those actually got the proper stimulus payment they were entitled to, or how many received less they were entitled to, right? But this is what the IRS is telling us right now. There's nothing terribly interesting in this data. I'll put the link in the description. One thing I noticed though is that they didn't put a total at the bottom this time. You'll remember the last time they did this, I pointed out a mistake in their totals at the bottom. No totals just this time, just the very rounded numbers, 130 million people, $200 billion in payments. Now, if you are struggling to make rent right now, I came across a spreadsheet being put together by Professor Emily Benfer of Columbia Law School, where she lays out by state the policies right now governing evictions and eviction moratoria. Moratoria being the plural of moratorium, if you didn't know. I think this is super helpful. I'm not vouching for its accuracy 100%, but this professor is obviously a knowledgeable person who has spent a lot of time on this. It's apparently updated quite frequently. So if you or someone you know is struggling to make rent right now, I think this is very much worth a look. All right, on to SSI. Yesterday, the Social Security Administration updated its website and gave us specific dates for when those on SSI can expect their stimulus payment, okay? They're saying May 13th for direct deposit and direct express, May 15th for when the paper checks will start going out. That is consistent with what I told you in my stimulus update for April 25th when I said that you should expect them to start going out the week of May 11th, okay? And of course, May 13th is the Wednesday, right? And that's the popular day for stimulus direct deposit payments to start going out, right, for certain tranches. Now, switching gears just a bit on the topic of representative payees, SSA has said that the IRS has not yet determined when payments will be made to someone who did not file a 2018 or 2019 tax return and who has a representative payee, okay? When there's an update on that, I will let you know. Now, I want to talk about Marco Rubio. So yesterday, Marco Rubio was on Telemundo basically saying that he plans to intervene on behalf of those U.S. citizens and their children who were denied stimulus payments because they were married to and filed taxes jointly with someone without a social security number, i.e. an undocumented immigrant, right? Unless one of them is in the military. We've talked about this before. A lot of people are understandably angered by this, you know, because it's one thing to deny the stimulus to an undocumented immigrant, right? That's a separate issue that, you know, many reasonable people can disagree about. But this over here, this issue Rubio is talking about, far more people are outraged, right? Because this is potentially, this is denying the stimulus to U.S. citizens and their native-born U.S. citizen children simply because the citizen is married to someone without a social security number, okay? I would say if this is you, they might override this in CARES 2. Okay, I know that Pelosi and Schumer have called for the next round of stimulus to include American citizens who file jointly with their spouse without a social. Okay, I don't know if that's going to go through. But if you want to maximize your chances, right, assuming that doesn't go through in CARES 2, you have until July 15th, October 15th, if you file an extension by July 15th, to file a superseding 2019 tax return. There's no guarantee here, but potentially if you file that superseding return to file your taxes separately from your spouse who doesn't have a social, that could trigger the stimulus for you, okay? But you have to weigh the benefits of stimulus against the tax negatives of filing separately from your spouse, okay? Now, after the tax deadlines for 2019 have passed, there's nothing you can do because you cannot amend a return to go from married filing jointly to married filing separately. Your best shot, absent further legislation, would be that superseding return, okay? Undoubtedly by now you have heard about the proposal that presidential hopefuls Harris and Sanders have made of 2,000 monthly payments for every individual and up to 3 dependents, okay? This will be retroactive to March and going until 3 months after the Department of Health and Human Services declares the COVID-19 public health emergency to be over. This plan would include all dependents, not just children under the age of 17. But if you do the math here, folks, Think about it. $2,000 for you, $2,000 for your spouse, $2,000 up to 3 dependents. That's $10,000 a month. If you just annualize that, do a run rate, and I'm not saying the public health emergency will justify a full year of payments, but if the public health emergency lasts until the end of November, right, that under this plan, you would still get payments for 3 months after that. So that's December, January, February 2021, right? And if they're retroactive to March 2020, that means you will have received a full year's worth of payments at $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 tax-free income, tax-free. Okay, that's a lot more than somebody making $120K a year. Keep that in mind. Okay, this is just madness, folks. I'm sorry. It's a fairy tale. I think it's a statement, right? I think they're just making a statement here about this, right? Republican senators will not go for something like that. In fact, here are some remarks from Republican senators about another stimulus. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana said, well, people in hell want ice water too. Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, I wasn't a real big supporter of the checks in the first round. This isn't your classic recession. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, the real stimulus that's going to change the trajectory that we're on is going to be the economy, not government checks. So I doubt there will be another payment. Now, these are kind of the extremists, right? Because we know that some more moderate Republicans would be open to more checks, right? Trump does not appear to be opposed to them, but I don't think essentially this universal basic income, this UBI, this welfare state paying up to $120,000 tax-free to its citizens is going to fly with the right. Come on. I mean, I guarantee you will see this fairy tale all over YouTube today. Senate proposes a $120,000 a year plan. So, new Senate proposal for $2,000 a month, right? Or up to $10K a month or something like that, okay? Now, what else? So the Trump administration may be looking to extend the deadline from the current extended deadline of July 15th to September 15th or even December 15th. Another thing, I thought this was funny, not really stimulus related, but kind of just in the realm of potential national threats. Congressman Raul Grijalva of New Mexico has proposed the Murder Hornet Eradication Act. It proposes for the Secretary of the Interior to establish a program to provide financial assistance to states for management, research, and publication activities necessary to eradicate the Asian giant hornet and restore bee populations damaged by the Asian giant hornet. State would have to apply, show sufficient need for this. Feds would cover up to 75% of the cost of a program to eradicate the murder hornets. And that's great. I mean, I honestly don't want to put a picture of these things on here to shock you or gross you out, but they are pretty scary and pretty nasty looking, right? So you can Google Asian murder hornets on your own time. All right, that'll about do it for now. I am, of course, keeping an eye on all the big players right now, keeping an eye on further updates from the Social Security Administration about representative payees, and of course the payment dates for SSI. No updates from VA, unfortunately. And of course, I'll update you if anything big happens today. Check out the links below. 2 free stocks, my favorite cashback credit card, and more. All right, so take it easy, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.